See, this is a case where the overworld map is harmless, when it's basically like Super Mario World, except without all the alternate pathways. It's when you have to do an overworld map to get to the next world that it's a problem, because then it's just overcomplicating things. The problem with this race is that it's a lot of pressure, and you're stuck at not exactly the center of the camera, more like to the left of the center of the camera. Well, still, it gives you little time to react when suddenly there's an enemy on the very right side of the screen that you have to react to. Like, the problem with those pogo stick enemies is that often, obviously when you try to jump on them when they're jumping directly upwards, you'll get hurt. It's actually safer to use the melee attack on them, but the problem with the melee attack is that once you use it, it stops and leaves you vulnerable. You need to have some specific timing in order to use the melee attack again right after you used it the first time. So it feels luck-based. The music here does a good job providing some frantic tension, and so does the counter there. Like, I like that. It's a nice touch. Normally the game doesn't tell you how much time you've spent in a level, which is often a bad sign. But yeah, you've got some good pressure here because the flies will kill you if you take too long. So that's pretty novel for races. I don't feel like I did my best at that race. Like, especially since like I had to cut out a previous take at that, but that's because I really don't like using a GameCube controller for this game. Like, the way my hand has to be when holding it, it actually hurts holding the run button down too much. And you gotta always be ready to let go of it and start holding it again the minute that you wanna start doing the double jump fly thing. So if you don't feel like you're in the mood to do the fly, then it can hurt your platforming skills when expected to react quickly. I hope I didn't complain too much about this. It's just that, you know, it's hard to play a game when it's kind of physically painful because you have to hold the run button too much. Obviously, the goal in this level is to kill all of the rats so that you can get that green bar all the way down and progress. I really like that it has that green bar, so it shows you the amount of progress you've made. Sometimes all you have to do is jump at them while holding a barrel above your head, which Dixie can do easily. And sometimes you have to throw the barrel at it. And you got extra challenge because you have to throw it with precise timing, because otherwise it'll hit the invincible zingers flying around. I don't really know why they're called zingers. I mean, bees make buzzing sounds, not zings. Yeah, the metal barrel is the type of barrel that doesn't break when you throw it at a wall. So it'll bounce off walls. I don't think I've ever been to this bonus barrel before. Considering the length of the bonus stage music, it seems like the people who made the music wanted the bonus stages to be longer, but instead, it ends right here. I think the music is easily long enough for the green banana collecting minigames, but not for the Badnik defeating ones. I so want to call them Badniks because of Sonic, but no, they're animals, meaning it's morally ambiguous that the heroes are just casually killing them. It's pretty dark, actually. But yeah, there's trapdoors that you have to watch out for. I had the hardest time jumping up to the top of that barrel there. That kind of looks like it should be in the background. You have to jump when you're on the very edge of the thing, when you're holding the barrel. And I think it helps to hold down the jump button for as long as you can, because that'll make your jump higher. I think that's something you have to keep in mind with this game. But it's hard to keep that in mind when you're also trying to keep in mind that you can fly whenever you want. So you're not only ready to let go of the Y button and start holding it again at any time, but you also have to keep in mind that you should hold down the jump button for for a long time. So yeah, there isn't much new to say about this level aside from the. Well, I think I've heard this fantastic song before too. Like the red singers are arbitrarily invincible. I don't know why the hell they replaced the yellow singers with green ones. The yellow ones look way better. That's how bees are supposed to look. Why not have the normal looking bees be the default ones? They're pretty big bees though, relatively speaking. They'd be terrifying to see. And see, you really are better off using the melee attack there. Because they jump so high. You really have to watch the way the enemies move to make sure that you don't get attacked by them. And these things are kind of annoying because, like, they keep going up and down even when they're off screen. And if you don't jump at them at the right time, like if you don't head towards them at the right time, you'll miss your chance to jump up them and they'll start going up without you. Don't move at all when you're falling down those trapdoors, because then you'll be stuck on the floor above you. Like, I've seen that mistake be made before. But yeah, that is pretty clever, that they're actually using the trapdoors for something other than just an annoyance forcing you to backtrack if you're stupid. Speaking of stupid, how was I supposed to know that that enemy would kill that not enemy would kill that enemy just by me walking to the right? I thought I would be forced to walk to the right and get it hurt by that big enemy. But instead, it pecks it to death. But then it gets killed by the enemy to the right of it. Like, how was I supposed to avoid that? It seemed like if I jumped, I would jump into it and get hurt. That's the annoying thing about that animal buddy. Like, sometimes they put enemies in the air that don't really account for the fact that the animal buddy is there. So while it's nice that it can collect bananas for you, it's so easy for it to get killed. And does it even matter? They're just bananas. You don't have to get all of them. It's not Donkey Kong 64. It's not like Yoshi's Island even, where you'll get rewarded with the look. It's you 100%ed the level if you collected all the bananas. But that would make 100%ing the game even more tedious. So good thing they didn't do that. It's deceptively hard to get past that cheaply placed green bee. Cause you gotta jump. You gotta be careful about how you jump, or you'll jump into it. And like that platform right there can't be jumped through from below. So that's what makes it extra difficult. Once again, we have the spooky forest music from earlier. Like, it is really good that every song in the game is not a variation on the same theme like in Super Mario World. But at the same time, I have to question why they reuse music from previous worlds. Like, this is good forest music, but still. Wouldn't it have been nice if they had brought back forest music from Donkey Kong Country 1 and like used it as the second forest music at least? I guess they only had so much room in the cartridge, so they couldn't reuse music that much. I think you walk slower when you're holding a barrel over your head. As you can see, these guys are inconsistent. Sometimes they'll jump directly up, depending on where they are in the level, and sometimes they'll jump over to the right and left. And later on the stage, you'll see that they'll try to lead you into enemies. The Donkey Kong games are really about trial and error. Because a lot of the time, there's no way that you would avoid getting hurt on your first playthrough. You have to be familiar with the level to get the kind of muscle memory that would teach you that it's going to lead you into a trap, or that, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, oh, I didn't know that I controlled the balloon I was standing on directly in Donkey Kong Country 2. I remember that was a really confusing lava level at first, because I thought the balloon would move on its own with momentum. Guess not. But yeah, see, that was a cheap shot, because I didn't know that was coming up. The camera could stand to be zoomed out more. But it is good, kind of, that I got to play as him, because it helps show off the differences. Because Dixie always holds a barrel over her head, which is far more useful, while this guy just holds it in front of him. So if he walks into something, the barrel will explode. And that'll be a much more inconveniencing thing in the boss fight later. This scene's pretty pointless, but I was surprised that it actually caused a pathway to show up because a log fell down a river. Apparently, his tantruming was so loud that it caused a log all the way outside to roll down a river and become a pathway to a pointless minigame. I was surprised that it actually mattered when I talked to that NPC. Like, he tantrums because you beat his record in the Riverside race. He's pretty brave, actually going through the levels, too. Like, he survives all the dangerous animals, like, just like you do. So this is a level that's pretty frustrating when you first play it. And it was frustrating when I went back to it, too. It's hard to remember the controls. They don't tell you the controls. The L button is what sucks up water. And the R button is what shoots out water. You can hold down and up on the control pad to change the angle that you're shooting water from, so that you can shoot water diagonally upwards or downwards. And diagonally upwards is really going to help you in this level. At one point you're wondering, how am I supposed to defeat that big bird? Well, that's how. The game forces you to figure that out. Yeah, and you hold down Y to suck those things towards you. I kept thinking it would be the L button because, go figure, the L button is used for sucking up water. So why wouldn't I think that I could suck up air too, and therefore suck the barrel towards me with it? But instead they overcomplicate the controls by having it be the run button. And, of course, she's not the rhino, so she can't just jump on anything she wants. I think it's a she anyways. So that's why people say this elephant kind of sucks. But it's an interesting challenge. I like all the things that she can do. But it can be annoying figuring this out for the first time. There's no on-screen controls telling you what to do. Like, it's such an inconvenience that when you throw that barrel into the water, it just magically sinks instead of floating like the other barrels do just fine. And providing a platform, like, the Trail of Bananas makes it look like you should be able to just put the barrel in the water and just jump on it and get the banana safely, but instead, there's so many times in this level where you're forced to endanger yourself by jumping into the water for a brief moment when a piranha's always there. But yeah, I like that you can suck the metal barrels towards you from a distance. Like, it's a pretty good distance. And it always feels especially convenient to me that you can break the DK barrels so easily. All you have to do is jump into them. Like, you have to throw them to break them, but you can also jump into them if you actually need a health up. And it'll just automatically break. You aren't forced to use weapons against it, or melee attacks against it. It's pretty nice of the game. I think I was confused by it because in Smash Brothers, which is where I first saw all these barrel stuff, you can't just jump into a DK barrel to break it immediately. Like, you have to throw the arrow barrel at someone, and only then will it be used against someone. Like, when she was in the water there, how's it supposed to go down to get that jump barrel? Was I seriously expected to backtrack all the way back there once I stopped being the elephant? And see, here's where you're forced to figure out how you can, and that you even can shoot water directly upwards in the first place. Well, not directly upwards, because that would be too useful. Like, the game gives you no hint as to how you can aim your water. Like, you have to be careful with the timing to hit that big bird correctly. I would have had an easier time if I had diagonal shot instead. This is definitely a frustrating level in the first playthrough. Like, it makes the animal buddy feel like a lot more of a situational gimmick when there's an entire level devoted to it. In the first DKC game, the animal buddies were power-ups that they were like Yoshi, and you would ride on them throughout the level, and like you could find the animal buddies hidden in the level, so it rewarded exploration. It feels less like a power-up if you're not easily blasting through the enemies, killing them just by running ahead at them, and you're forced to use them. There's no way to avoid that stupid elephant barrel. At least I assume. Yeah, like that earlier minigame was a Simon Says minigame, but I feel like the graphics are actually too good for once. So I wasn't focusing on the names of the buttons I was told to do, and I didn't even know I was supposed to play Simon Says for the first one, so I missed the input. Anyways, I hate this boss with every fiber of my being. This is part of the reason I hate the boss theme in this game. I hear it and it just makes me full of dread. These balls will actually bounce all over the place, and that's actually easy to forget. Usually, if you lose Dixie, you might as well kill yourself. But somehow I lucked out and actually beat this guy on the first try. But this was the first time in my first playthrough that I ever got a game over to this game. I don't know how I avoid dying to the legs of that spider, because the spider's legs hurt you when they damage you, and it's so easy for them to hit you. Normally, once you lose Dixie, you might as well kill yourself, because Dixie has a way easier time damaging him with the barrel because she holds it above her head. I'm kind of disappointed that I beat that boss so easily, because it didn't really show off how unbearably frustrating it is. But yeah, it is nice that that Wrinkly Kong plays the N64. Like, you heard the Super Mario 64 Peach's Castle theme. And earlier she complained that, why don't they make video games about knitting? But yeah, I really hate that spider boss. Like, it's so precise with where exactly the barrel needs to be before you can hurt it.